When things stop growing, they die. The original quote is, when you stop growing, you start dying. However, I'm going to stick with the original one that I said, just because it unlocked so much more for me. When I originally recorded this, I had mentioned passion and career and friendship and relationship and even personality. And I believe I'll still mention those, but there's so much that I didn't get to say. So hopefully I'll get a lot more of it out this time. But starting with passion, you're a child and you discover fire trucks or math or art or music or video games or I don't know, landscaping. You develop a green thumb, and whatever it is, you're just so excited about it. It gets you out of bed in the morning. The possibilities are endless. You just want to feed it. You just want to dive into it. You just want to learn as much as you can about it. And Alan Watts says this is the path to take. He suggests that his lectures suggest, he passed away, I think in the 70s, I believe, suggests that he actually has a quote saying, get people to pay you to play. I did a post about it a while ago. And that doesn't have to be music or art or video games. It can be math. It can be a green thumb. It can be whatever it is. What's his name? Steve Harvey has a story. I talk about it all the time because it's just a really great story about who knows if it's true or not, but one of his friends growing up, they, every time it was the weekend and they wanted to go out and party, one of the friends couldn't do it because he had to go mow so-and-so's lawn. It's this elderly woman. She needs me, like she expects me there, or even if it's not, and it's just a family, it was just, he took pride in his work and he wanted to show up on time and he wanted to cultivate it. And no matter what, like he was just like straight focused on this thing. And, years later, he owns his own company. See how excited I am? He owns his own company. He manages the team and he's so successful and he's doing his thing. And I guarantee you for him, even the work part doesn't feel like work. But what's the point? He grew that passion. Like he kept feeding it. He kept wanting to continue and grow with it. Career, obviously this kind of goes right into career, but again, regardless of what it is, some people love numbers. Some people love sitting at a desk. Some people couldn't be happier with it, whether it's like social anxiety or a personality thing, or they just understand numbers the way they understand them, whatever it is. Find, when you're excited and you're eager to climb up the ladder, you're eager to better yourself, you're eager to grow this passion and this ambition and this trajectory that you're on, it's amazing. However, as soon as you stall out, as soon as you get to a company where there isn't room for growth or hard work isn't paid off, it isn't rewarded, and your options start dwindling, that passion dissipates. It goes away. It stops being fed and it starts to die. Friendship. You meet someone and you hit it off right out of the gate. You connect on so many levels. You see eye to eye on so many things, even the things that you don't see eye to eye on. You're not turned off or put off by them at all. You're kind of intrigued and you want to know more just because you connect on this, like there's this beautiful symmetry that's going on between the two of you, and or multiples of you. And the more you connect, the more you chat, the more you see each other, the more you talk, like the more you kind of have your little things that you do, the more you feed this relationship and the more it grows. And the more it grows, the more you reap the benefits of it. However, as soon as it stops, what happens? It fizzles out. You lose touch, whether it's life happening or family circumstances happening or, whatever it is. It's just, how many of us can relate to that? Then you have relationship. Exact same thing, but just on a much deeper, more intimate level. Some of the best advice I've ever heard is never stop pursuing your partner. I just posted something on my coaching account that talked about I have so many things in my head. But just, I'm just going to redirect because I'm going to lose my train of thought if I don't. The more you feed it, the more you feed the relationship, the more it's going to feed you. And, one of the worst kryptonites of relationships is grass is always greener syndrome, where you're just convinced that this person over here, this relationship over here, whatever they're doing over here, that's awesome. I love that. A, why can't you do that where you're at? And B, why can't you discover your own version of that? I don't think people hear enough that it's up to you and your partner to define your relationship. Just the two of you. Just the two of you. It doesn't need to be anyone else. If you choose to have it be, then that's fine, but make sure that it's adding to the relationship and not taking away from it. But exact same thing. How often, there's this divorce attorney, I don't know his name, but I really like I like his content. I think I posted him a few times now, where he talks about so many couples, I hope I'm quoting this right, so many couples, once they're divorced, they realize that they could have tried harder. They had more to give, and they just stopped feeding the relationship, which means the relationship stopped growing, which means it stopped serving them, and then they fizzled out. And then I mentioned personality in the original post, and just how, people find their niche, and they, either they're an expert on something, or they deep dive something just because they're intrigued by it, or they're the class clown, or whatever it is. Like, they have their shtick, which I feel like that's a negative connotation. There's a negative connotation to that, and I don't mean for there to be. But people, where I'm ultimately going with this is that exact same thing. The moment you stop, from my perspective, the moment you stop feeling the room, the moment you stop having tact, the moment you stop having empathy, the moment you stop, I guess what I'm thinking specifically is someone who's convinced that they have it all figured out. Someone who's convinced that they know the ins and outs. They know what they need to know. They're not interested in learning anything else. And to me, that sounds a lot like no longer feeding whatever it is, or no longer growing. And that's what this is all about. Again, we all know this with plants. We all know this even with people, even with age. I've never been a fan of over the hill jokes. I've never been a fan of, oh my God, you're so old now. Like, I've always rolled my eyes at it. I've always cringed, just because, go figure, science is now saying, I don't know, I would just Google age as a disease, but there's evidence to support that age, the way that we've been aging, isn't natural. And I was at dinner with my brother and sister-in-law recently, and my sister-in-law was talking about how her mom or her aunt had an injury, and she basically just stopped doing certain things because she didn't want to either agitate that injury or make it worse. And I've just noticed this with myself and my own journey, where I was an athlete and I was working out 30 hours a week, and all of a sudden I wasn't working out ever. And I tried to follow the corporate road, and I gained 100 pounds, and my body just stopped. It didn't work the way that it used to. And then what was it? I think I had a friend who I was also an athlete with, and she got into CrossFit, and she had a severe knee surgery. I had knee surgery too, but mine wasn't severe. Hers was really severe. But then I started doing CrossFit a couple years later, and I was blown away by this, because after my knee surgery, I was told about arthritis, and I was told about how my knees are never going to be the same again, and all this stuff. And I believed it. I stopped feeding my fitness. I stopped feeding being physically active. I stopped growing as an athletic person. And sure enough, as far as I'm concerned, my body started to die. And since I have been working out a lot more and being a lot more physically active and having a regimen and being really consistent, And that's always been tough for me because I've, I've always said that I need to be living an active lifestyle or else I'm screwed. And I proved that. And so now that I'm getting back to it, like, I feel alive again, and I'm excited. I'm excited to continue. I'm excited to push myself further. I'm excited to just keep going. And again, this is all about, when things stop growing, they die. And we all know what this is like on some level. So I encourage you to, as always, this is just food for thought. Hopefully this helps you. All of my posts are just me talking to past versions of me that I wish I would have heard, like things that I wish I would have heard, years prior, that would have made a huge difference. And, thanks to all of those who reach out and tell me that it's making a difference with you. And hopefully this continues in that direction. As always, take what works and leave what doesn't. I'm becoming an expert in myself, and I'm really happy with where I'm at so far. I encourage you to become an expert in yourself. If you are fortunate enough to have people in your life that you value, who value you, who want to see you better and add to that way more than they take away, I recommend that you heed, what it is that they have to say. I'm just a big believer that it takes a village, and that doesn't change just because we grew up. You know what I mean? Strength in numbers, and we're all in this together.